Hello all, this is Zimnala coming at you with another adventure in Shining in the Darkness, Darkness Edition version 1.7. We're going to be continuing our adventures here as we check out this version of the mod. We had just completed the Cave of Truth, and we're going to be heading onwards into the Cave of Wisdom. Now there's a couple of things that make the next dungeon a little bit more complex, but honestly, if you get used to the layout, it's really not that bad. Apparently, as of the time that I started this mod, the mod maker has reached out that they have increased the mod version a little bit further and reduced the drop rates of the items a little bit, and changed some of the things that some of the monsters have going on. Maybe a little bit. But it should only affect things behind where I'm at for the most part, and I don't really think it's that credible that the drop rates are going to greatly affect what I have going on, but I do appreciate that they're making tweaks to the mod. But I'm far more interested in what the monster mechanics are, the names and whatnot, so that's the part I'm interested in. The changing, like, there's only so much that the items can do for you anyway. Almost all the best items in the game are gotten in treasure chests or crafted, so for the most part, I don't think this is going to change too much. Now these guys were tricky last time. They tend to explode. Oh, he didn't change to a weapon that would stop this a little bit from potentially being an issue, but you know. If they explode, and I think we'll be okay either way. There we go. We got by without that happening. Now these walls have an absolute butt ton of abilities. It's actually kind of wild how many things they can do. But yeah, we're gonna basically make 2 passes on this dungeon. Or even more if necessary, but usually it's a minimum of 2 to get all the items in it. But one of the changes I heard is that the Morning Star actually can't be used by the main character, so I guess in the spirit of fairness, I'll switch off to something like the Iron Lance, because that's probably the one thing that they told me that they're changing. But we're almost beyond that anyway. Actually, one of the first stops we'll be doing in this dungeon coming up is to get a better weapon anyway, which would be the Fire Sword. I guess the Morning Star is going to act like a flail and not a whip, which honestly I would prefer a flail over the whip, so I don't see that as a real issue for us regardless. So, but yeah, we're gonna try to map on this Jivaphoric Fofi upside down spider. Pretty funny. What do I got going on here? These guys can drop the steel whip, which we are already using one of, so it would just be money for us. These Jacko Butches we didn't actually, these Grim Pumpkin, we didn't have a chance to kill a single one to figure out what their experience are. And we're not going to get a good chance at it this time either, because of what's going on. But we'll get a good chance to get this guy's EXP and gold. 91 and 80. Because the other guy ran away. So this is the first time we've had an enemy that actually has less gold than EXP outside of the Dark Wall. So that's interesting. We also didn't get an ability off of them because they didn't do anything. But they're certainly going to get a chance to show us, I'm sure. But I only went down this. Oh, that's a pretty big group of them. Nice. But yeah, no, I'm sure we'll be fine. So they can entangle. So there we go, we got an ability. Not really too surprising. So now we have scale boots, which we had encountered in the previous dungeon. If we get lucky, we'll be able to get them, but it really comes down to if Pyra gets like a critical hit or something like that. There goes Pyra, saving the day, of course. I'm just kidding, these guys weren't really that big of a threat. So we got our Ooze Stallion again. So we had Freezing Breath and Quick Level 2 on these guys. I guess these guys also had more EXP than gold as well. But it was just mini bosses that we saw it from. There's the cell door, we'll have to come back for that. At least it's near the entrance of this dungeon. Nice. Finally we can do it. Because it wasn't answered. Last time it got muddied by them summoning things. 300 and 175. So we have it written down that they summoned rod caps, which I'm thinking are the same ones from Labyrinth level 2 later on. So... oh, we're gonna kill all of these. These are gonna be such good experience. Yeah, I think they're probably the same enemies from Labyrinth level 2, which isn't so bad because we should actually be there pretty soon. Yeah, unlike the last dungeon, there's really not that much, like, alternate pathing in this. But there is a big expansive down path here that we're gonna go through and just wander around just to map out at least once. Ah, nice. Looks like Milo is just about fast enough to beat him sometimes. That's helpful. So there's 3 of them and 5 of the rock cats. They do quite a bit of damage. They also have sleep attack. I'm gonna put an entry for them here. Because even though we don't normally have them spawn here, they should still have an entry because they get summoned here. Do sleep hit. So we're also gonna do our best to get their values. $14.75 and $12.15. They give 115 EXP. And 145 gold. Okay. That's pretty good, actually. So that would put them not even too much further than we are, but I bet they're still beyond this dungeon we're currently in. Okay. So now our entry is in place. And we're gonna heal up and continue moseying. Now the nice thing is that they're actually incredibly good for EXP. Ah, new friend. Earthhound. Huh. What do we think they got going on? Well... Burst level 2. They also did 17 damage with this with a burst level 2, so that's the lowest we've seen on that. So Earthhound did cast that. Alright, let's see how their EXP and gold look. 198 and 170. That puts them on 99 EXP and 85 gold. I actually had kinda thought that they would be having multiple attacks. I am a little glad that isn't what happened there. But it wouldn't have been the biggest problem either. But now that they cast spells, I guess that would have been a little worse, huh? They do critical hits, that's a little worse. Also did 16 to 20. Oh, and they do have a chance at 1 or 2 attacks. Look at you go. That's several more things going for them. But they're not always 2 attacks. This dungeon doesn't actually have as many enemies as some of the later ones. Ooh, spicy. We do have revive though. We can sort that out. Oh, 4 golems. Here we go. They have a little bit more defense than some of the other enemies. They're also a little slower. Let's see what they do. So they can put us to sleep. So they got Sleep Mist. Freeze level 2. Critical hits. And boulders. Alright. was 4 of them. Let's see what we get. 376 and 380. So that's 94 EXP and 95 gold. So that puts them right between the other ones that we saw. Then we're going to explore the middle bit. And then we'll have this whole place sorted out. All kicks all day. Kinda wish you hadn't done that so that she could kill them faster. Guess we're gonna go with this. I was kinda hoping that they'd go first. I'll be fine. But yeah, this downward section right here is probably the most complexity that this place has, so getting this done on the first trip will make the second trip a lot faster, even though it's further of a distance. But what I will say is there is a pretty big area that in the past has had some spicy enemies in for different versions of the mod, so we'll see if that is the case here. I don't remember if it was this mod. It might have just been Battle Edition. We'll see. We'll see what they did. No use getting worried about anything at this point. I played a lot of versions of this game. And that's this little area mapped out. These guys are pretty spicy in some ways, though. They can do a lot of damage. We've seen that. But they don't always. And they're not as sturdy as they could have been made, which would have made him a more dangerous enemy. Like if they took like another turn to take out, they would have more potential for deadliness. But since we can take him out in 2 turns, it's not so bad. Although if they put us to sleep, that would be real bad. might as well use the herb. Anything else? Nope, we're good. So this place is a little bit of a maze, so you gotta basically traverse this without falling in. Fortunately, they give you a map. Map 1. And this knocks you down to that area we were just in, if you do happen to fall down. What was that weird glitch? You saw that, right? It like spawned them off on the side. Huh. Weird. Or at least when I attacked them, it moved their sprite off the screen for me to attack. That was pretty weird. Strange, glitzy nonsense. But yeah, no, this... It's like an S that you go around. You just gotta go around it, and then you can just turn left and go up it. But honestly, there's a little area in the middle that you can map, even though there's nothing in it. But sometimes I like to map anyway. Alright, we killed one. I'll take it. If we look at this, you'll see. So you can go down here, go right one square, and then go around it the other way. But it doesn't lead to treasure. There is treasure to be found, but it's not this way. Like, I thought that the drop rates were too high, but honestly, as you can see, we're not getting absolute tons of drops either, so I think that that's not necessarily the case. Hey, Raptor. Do we already know these guys? Yeah, they were in the previous dungeon, actually. I remember that they used Force. That's the only ability we saw last time. Well, that one's gonna get knocked. Oh, somebody's came into play. So we got two of them. Bot. These guys can do some damage, but I think we're gonna sneak by, like, without too much trouble. Bonk. Yeah, and then we just go back out to the top, and then we can mosey along this way. Oh, nice. Hello, friend. Poisoned. Of course. so far most of what we've seen are just remnants from the past dungeon. Only 3 of the enemies we've seen so far are new to this one. Let's see. I think I go straight ahead to bam, bam. Go around it. Oh, hello, raptors. Honestly, if they do the force, it's not so bad. Oh, there we go. Knocked one out. Yeah, the force isn't really all that dangerous. Took out one of them, though. Good for you. But yeah, I don't think we're gonna run out of MP before we want to leave anyway. I think we're gonna be okie dokie. Well, they just really want to throw these guys at us, huh? Goodbye, guys. Funny. There's this treasure chest here, but Battle Axe, I believe, is one we've already seen, right? It was not that impressive. Let's take a check. Yeah, that one's one we've already seen. Look at that, they were so fast. I'm not too worried about a single one popping up. Although it looks like he wanted his friend to join, but that wastes your turn and your friend is gone. Ah, snap. Goodbye, friend. You were so fast. That's real unfortunate for you guys. I'm not too worried about these guys. I mean, even when they ensnare us, they don't do enough damage to be spooky to us. And with that, we had explored this little region, and the goal we're aiming for is actually just a little bit beyond here anyway. So one of the rock caps is already toast. And now the other one is too. Hello, raptors. Look at you. Such a force. this way leads us to the fire sword. These guys have some good potential for damage if they get lucky and have all double turns and decide to cast. Hello, Soul Phantom. Alright, here's another new enemy. Let's see what they do. They do decent damage. We didn't see any other abilities. What do they got? 420 and 340. Alright. That's 105. 3 XP. And 85 gold, I believe. Let's double check that. Looks like it. Oh, we didn't get an ability on them, so we didn't get that chance. I've seen other iterations of them do some really nasty things, so who knows, they could be real bad news, or they could be totally fine. Let's pass that around and see who can use it. So basically, so far Milo can use it, and that's like the first time he's been able to use a sword. Other than the little daggers you could start with. Pyro can also use this. Not surprisingly, so can this character. So that is 10 more than what we had before. So that is 85. Let's see if that is what we had written down. That does look to be correct. So what changed this time is that Pyra can wear it. She couldn't wear it before. So the one thing we don't know is the value of it. We got the other information from this. Take that off of the previous list. So I suspect that this one has the usual ability that it does, which is to cast a fire spell when used. So this leads back out to the main path. There's two groups of them. I'll try using it. That didn't work, unless it was specific to the group. Well, he's straight up not gonna be able to do this, but usually it picks a new group. Oh, spicy. Level 1 to Soul. There we go. Well, this is another little penalty room that you can fall into from above. We're gonna test out the sword to see if that's what happened. We're gonna have to wait for a better group. Oh, we're fine as long as they don't actually disoul Milo. There we go. 41 to 46. So I'm gonna guess that that's just Blaze level 3. I guess if the group that you're using it on disappears, it doesn't actually do its move. Is this put this out? So yeah, this does lead to one more treasure chest, but then it leads to the main hallway. So that's what's going on here. That's the way out. This one is the treasure chest. Oh, and that's the second map. So there you go. This is a way to get the second map. Now we got Dark Monk, another new enemy. I mean, these guys are probably just a nasty spellcaster. Bolt level 2. 21 to 25. Just gonna write down their abilities first. We've already seen Bolt level 2 with higher values, so that's not new information. 369, 365. So that's 135 for EXP, so that's a pretty sizable jump up. And 140 for gold, which is also a decent jump up. I'm deciding if I just want to basically just teleport out. So I'm thinking I could go a little further and maybe map out the areas that require magic goo. There are some in this dungeon, but almost all of them are before the big puzzle room. So I'm going to take care of the ones on the way there. That way when we do our full run through, we don't have to worry about losing some magic to that. That's the other side of that section we were just in. So it is nice that we can seemingly take out a squad of these guys before they can move. That does make them priority 1 though, for sure. Don't like that they put everyone but the main character to sleep though. He doesn't go first. But it's kind of okay. Well, at least it went fine. Dead end. We got Bolt level 2 on him. That's all we got. That's all we did get to see. So in retrospect, what I'm considering is I could map out the giant room down below, and then when we come back here, we can just escape. So it's a ginormous map down there. Oh, good. That's probably an improvement. Oh, you know what? We're gonna pass that sucker around first. That's not what I probably wanted to trade it with, but that's okay. Can't wear the flail anyway. I guess we weren't using that weapon anyway, so it didn't matter. So we'll give it to Pyra. She can't wear it. Good. You know, the steel whip, it would be an improvement. Now that I look at it, we have the thorn whip. So that steel whip would technically be an improvement. Okay. So now we're going to get, so this has 40. Let's see if that's what we know about it. So in the previous iteration, it was both a whip and a flail with one extra hit, is what I have written down. So we'll see what its behavior is like, because it was a little complex. And may have been tweaked again. This is just a goo path that didn't go anywhere, but I still would have wanted to map it. They're getting some options here. Some of them are going first. Ooh, that could have been bad. One attack, two attack. Hit the whole group. And did an extra hit. So it's still the whip and the flail. So far. That's lucky for us. Okay. So yeah. This should lead to a ghost. Of course. Whew. Okay. Because of what's going on, it's better to boost Milo because he attacks twice. Oh, and you critical hit, just absolutely decimate it? Nice. I'll take it. Yeah, so our limit is basically our MP, right? Please don't do anything too crazy. Thank you. You tried though, but you didn't do it. Also glad that that didn't do it. Huh. I wonder if that tanked our speed, because we were actually going before them. I think we're just getting a little unlucky. Okay. I have seen equipment changing other stats, but that was only in the Battle Edition. But I do remember that this mod developer was talking to the same person that developed that, so I thought there was a chance they might have also learned how to change those values too. Although maybe they already knew how to do that. I guess I shouldn't know what their limitations are. But so far I haven't seen them add that capability to items. It would make it more complex to actually record the information. Oh, please don't do anything crazy. These guys are spooky. They come in such big groups sometimes, and one of them survived that first volley without damage. Don't like that for us. Three of them went before. So we're just not quite fast enough to make sure that we do that. One more attack. Okay, so we only get the one extra attack. Understood. I will say, at least we haven't had anything draining our MP directly. That's been a nice change so far this dungeon. This is a ginormous freaking chamber to explore and fight in. Most of it is just a big empty room, though. Don't like all these misses we're doing lately, though. So far, it's not really punishing us for it. They're gonna probably get another chance to do something. Yep. 18 is the lowest we saw on that. We saw 23. So that's a new lowest for Bolt level 2. Oh, magic ring, that's kind of uncommon. That's a rare item. I don't think that's an equipable anyway. 226, 152. So I'm gonna make sure that this doesn't like give us bonus stats by passing it around. It's happened before. Okay. That didn't actually change anything in there. It could also have other benefits, like I have also seen things like boost to stats from being held. It also like 2 resistances, like the Battle Edition had it's so when you carried a fire sword, you actually had partial fire immunity. Really glad that didn't do it. Come on, that's just so many times you've tried this. They're such jerks. Oh, rock caps do spawn in this dungeon, not the next one. Okay, so I can officially move them to this dungeon. I placed them in whichever dungeon that on my list that they naturally will spawn in. Their spot would actually put them between the Soul Phantom and the Dark Monk. So we're gonna probably take some damage here. There's not much we can do about it. So they can divide. Did we have that written down? I've seen that. There we go. So 17 is the lowest we've seen from that, but maybe there's a thing where we have like less magic damage from stuff. So we're gonna have to take a look on that maybe the magic ring does in fact affect magic damage. Maybe like a 10% reduction perhaps. And if so, it's gonna have skewed our attacks. I might want to go back to the previous value for Bullet Bolt 2 just in case that turns out to be the case. Basically, it would just take getting hit with a bunch more spells to kind of pin that down. Like, if that character's taking noticeably lower values for stuff than we've seen before, that would be the indication. It's not like the game sits out and says, oh, this is why you took less damage, you know? In fact, it doesn't actually tell you that you took less damage. So this is what Dinotaurus is. Well, they're gonna get a chance to go because there's more enemies to kill this way. They do good damage. Really good damage. Only attacked once. That was all they did was damage, though. So we killed 4 and 2. What did we get? 718 and 840. I've got 129 EXP. That puts him very slightly less than the Dark Monk. And they give an absolutely butt ton of gold. They give 250 gold apiece. That's kind of wild in its own right. Oh wait, no. I did that wrong. Okay. I know why I got that value. Okay, so let's do... I was looking at a different monster when I was calculating. They still give 130 gold. That's reasonable. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. But yeah, I hope we can finish exploring this room. And we didn't get an ability off those guys either, so... if they can do something, we didn't see it. I'm glad we killed one of them before they cast. Oh, they can draw? Okay. So that takes away a little bit of their offense. We did... They could do that in their previous iteration too, so it's not too surprising. So they actually don't have more abilities so far than their original counterpart, the Sorcerer. That's a lot of them, though. Oh, I'm really glad we went first. gonna be good for EXP and gold, at least. Yeah, that wasn't less than we've seen so far, so I'm not gonna assume that that is proof. This should be a treasure chest. More of these friends. Let's see what they do. Or not do. They might not do anything. Oh, they critical. That was a good critical. They don't have any double attacks so far, but critical hits not bad, because like they do a lot of base damage. Oh, we got a magic shield. She can wear it, so we're gonna have to pass this around to make sure everyone can wear it. So we got a little lucky on that. This is actually one of the few shields that she can wear. I'm gonna imagine everyone can wear this. That's actually 90 defense. So it's worth noting that that's more defense than it usually was. The previous iteration had 60. So everyone can wear it. That was the case before. So we'll take that off of our unknown list. Cool. So I might actually decide to wear this. This could help this character out with the problem that they're having, which is they take way more damage than these guys right now. So the other thing is that they actually tend to go last, so by the time they're attacking, the battle's already over. Oh, well, hi Orb Fist. I didn't know you could spawn down here. I knew you could spawn up above in a couple places, but hello Orb Fist. We don't know what this one does. They can drop a magic ring. Their previous version didn't have any abilities there. I guess I'm glad we put that on. Let's boost up Milo. The best we can do. Oh, you watch warily. Oh, so that's a defensive move. Actually, I don't know what that does. That's not actually defense. That does something though. Well, okay. Magic ring. $500 and $900. So I'm actually going to end up selling these magic rings. Just because I can use the storage space. Well, maybe I will, maybe I won't. But let's see. We'll have to see what they're good for after I do sell some. After I walk to this wall, I'm done with this area, so time to return to town and clean up stuff. So that was almost all of the optional areas to explore in that dungeon sorted. So I'm gonna see what the values on some of this is. 1050, that is normal, that was 14,000. So that part we already knew. So I'm gonna make sure that the values are the same. Yeah, now that we're not attacking every group, actually the extra boost from the Madu is a little less attractive to this character. So now that we have a flail, we're not going to need a higher damage single attack weapon. We're also never going to need map level 1. Because that area is not actually complex enough to need it. And she's not going to need a Morningstar, or her whip's already better. I'm going to get the value on this. So it's 12,000. You know what's interesting is I actually didn't even have an entry for this written down before because we couldn't equip it. So now I'm gonna have a reason to have it. So we're gonna have magic ring. Let's make sure we got ourselves as trimmed as I reasonably can be. I feel like if we're not gonna need this for the simple fact that there aren't any bosses for us to fight coming up. And we're gonna find something better she can use by that point anyway. That's my logic. So we are gonna buy another angel feather as an emergency. Okay, and then we're going to come out here and take a couple moment break, and then we will go in for our second round into the dungeon where we make it to the end. I'll see y'all in a minute. Bye-bye, y'all.